Today was an extremely red day, as you guys can see by the right side panel right there. We had a lot of red coming to the markets, and that is a good thing because we finally got the ball rolling. If you guys didn't know, this was one of the lowest volatility weeks for Bitcoin in this entire cycle. So something had to give. And what happened was we had a cascade liquidation happen. As you guys can see by this post by CoinGlass, the biggest long liquidations so far this year by a wide margin. You guys can see that about 1.6 billion liquidations. That means people were leveraged to the long side, and that was a bias to the long side. They got wiped out. And usually this is a good thing because it wipes out the long so that we can actually make a healthy move up, so that in the future, when we get to higher prices, not everybody is in profit, and then there's a bigger cascade happening as we're continuing to make the run. Let's just put this into perspective. These are prices not seen since about 10 days ago, about 2 weeks ago. Is that really that bad? No, these are headlines because people are leveraged and over leveraged, and that's why we get these liquidations. They mean nothing. Not really. They're just scary because they happen so quick to wipe out people. That's the bad part. And then the market overreacts by selling off in strange ways. But for the most part, guys, this is nothing terrible, because if we take a look at Ethereum especially, we're getting down to these liquidity zone. That's what I'm hoping to take out, because once we capture that liquidity, there's probably people long from down here that need to be taken out, or they have their stop losses here, their liquidation price. I do think we need to go ahead and get that liquidity down on Ethereum. And once we do that, it sets us closer to actually head towards the upside. I want you guys to notice one thing when it comes to price moving up. Before price moves up in a meaningful way, it needs to dip. It happened here. You guys can see that. It happened here. We got a dip. And most likely it's going to happen here. Price doesn't just let you go up, up, and up all the time. It does happen. But for the most part, reversals happen sharply after a scary moment. You guys can see this dip was about a 30% dip towards the downside. This one was a 15% dip towards the downside. This one would be a 22% dip towards the downside. So it's not so terrible. And this has happened in the past more than once. I can give you more examples. If we look over here, price moved up meaningfully after we took this dip. If we take a look at here, the price moved up meaningfully after at the lowest point here. And the point is, guys, usually price will move up meaningfully when it looks really bad, not when it looks really good. And that's just how it works. Right now, I don't think Ethereum looked really good, but I did highlight in the past couple of videos throughout many weeks, I did say we have a high chance of getting this liquidity down here. It wasn't a guarantee, but that is what I'm looking for. And I've had this box on my videos, if you guys have been watching, for a very long time. And we're finally looking like we're going to go ahead and try to grab that. So we'll see. I think we have lower to go on majors, which means altcoin sentiment is going to continue to take a beating. And as you guys can see, Bitcoin dominance got a little bit of a spike there. So nothing to be worried about. I think it still looks like it wants to break down. And we're not surprised because we took a look at the Bitcoin dominance here and saw that we managed to retrace 26%. Now, I really don't want to see this because that would be a little bit of a problem in terms of the timing of how I'm trying to time the cycle. I don't think we're going to see a move like that on Bitcoin dominance, but a little bit of a retrace wouldn't surprise me, because you guys can see this orange line does have a bit of support on it. We had support here, we had support here, and then we had some support there. Yes, it was breached a little bit, but once we took it out, we absolutely skyrocketed to the upside. And now you guys can see a little bit of a bounce here. So not too surprised. I think that 57% region, once it gives out, will give way to about 52 to 50% towards the downside. So a little bit of a retrace. The good news is I was looking for Litecoin to grab some at $100 to $94, or I should say $99 to $104. And I think we're going to see that. So a little bit off right there with support at 102. A little bit lower wouldn't surprise me. And that would be a great place to buy. Yes, we're cracking through this trend line, but that's all right. What we're really looking for is a dip down here around 99, 97. That would be a great buying opportunity. If we take a look at Ethereum BTC as well, we can see finally we're getting that dip that I've been looking for, and with the Ethereum prices going down. So this is good to see. I think we need to see a little bit of a shakeout as price has moved up very aggressively in the past couple of days. And Ethereum BTC can continue to do that because it's a BTC pair. And when alt season starts, that's kind of what BTC does. It just moves the BTC pairs real quick towards the upside as people shove their Bitcoin into alts. Now, let's take a look at the sectors to see how they've performed as the market has taken a liquidation hit today. And you can see here, AI sector still holding steady. Yeah, we cracked below the trend line a little bit. Does that mean it's over? I don't think so. I think we're going to continue to compress and trade sideways until we crack towards the upside. I do think next week is going to be green. So I would expect us to see this move towards the upside. Of course, the other equation to this price action here is that we test the bottom range. I don't know if we're going to do that, yet to be seen. But if we do happen to close strongly under this trend line right here, then yes, I do think 40 billion is on the table, which would be ugly for the AI sector. I don't know how low prices are going to go in terms of Tau and these major coins. Tau currently at 315, testing that lower range. And I do think if AI sector does move towards the 40 billion, we're going to see Tau break down to about $254 around that area, as I do see a lot of liquid areas down here on the chart. So we'll see. This failed breakout right now is not great. I would have expected this to hold so far, and it technically is right now, but the price action looks really weak at the moment. Take a look at virtuals as well. I would expect the wedge to hold the breakout. Otherwise, again, it's looking really weak, and we can also extend this wedge, but then the wedge doesn't turn into wedge so much. So that's a bit concerning. So we'll have to wait and see. One more area we could head to is towards that fib, that 0.854. That would be the last level I'm looking at for virtuals. But even then, the price action doesn't look too great, because then we start compressing, and it simply gets too late into the cycle, at least from what I'm planning here. So I'm going to go ahead and keep this wedge as it was and say, okay, we're actually going to hold this area or trade sideways for the next few days. Maybe a little bit of a divergence play there and then move out. That's fine, as long as we don't crack too far below it. So right now, I'm going to stick with this price action and say, okay, even though things are looking bad now, the plan is set, and that's all right. I do think we're going to get these higher levels and continue to move up. And let's take a look at DeFi as well, because DeFi, I'm assuming, has taken a big hit. And there you can see some liquidations happening. For the most part, still all right, because we haven't taken out this low down here, still holding that low. If we take out this low, then that's going to be a bit of a problem, and we're going to be retargeting lower levels on total DeFi. And of course, memes look like they're probably doing the same thing. So yeah, the whole sector is moving as it should. And these levels are not terrible. These are not bad levels by any means. We consolidated here for many weeks. We had a breakout, and now we're doing a retest. The price action looks bad, yes, but in a couple of days, as it settles, it can recover just as easily. Because remember, we wiped out the long liquidations, and there might be lower to go, and as long as the price remains above these support, I think we're fine. Yes, psychologically, it'll be difficult, but for the most part, we're looking still on track to make those highs. You can see here others' dominance tagging that resistance line there, and it reacted negatively. We mentioned this would be a possibility that we head towards the downside and then try to crack it again. So we're still looking for a lot of breakout confirmation on the altcoins. If we take a look at Total 3 has rejected off the top with some red coming in. Probably needs to come down a little bit lower, down to 1.03 trillion down there. And then we'll see, we have USDT pushing up here, right? You can see that we broke out of the downtrend and now we're pushing up. So the market is a bit undecided on what it wants to do. But as a whole, when we take a look at the sectors as a whole, nothing bad has come out of these charts yet. There's no structural damage. Yes, we have a lot of retests, and now we're waiting for the dust to settle to see what happens. Is Ethereum going to go lower? Most likely. So we have some time required for these charts to do what they need to do. And Ethereum can easily wick down here and put in a liquidity wick similar to how we had here, and then reverse up and make a move higher. So we're looking for October to be one of the stronger months in the year, and then November to be the strongest month of the year. So seasonality is on our side. Even though the charts don't look great, things can change extremely fast. I mean, if you look at what happened back here in April, we had the charts look absolutely terrible. But then guess what happened? We made a new high. We took out the highs previously and made a new high. So things can look really bad, but they can reverse just as easily. And usually people being bearish and scared at these price levels, I think is really good, because we don't want to see people saying super cycle, Bitcoin's never going to go down X price. I think that's more scary than where we're at right now in terms of sentiment. So I like what we're seeing in terms of sentiment. I like where people are at psychologically. I think people have had it hard this cycle because it hasn't been easy to navigate. But that's created a recipe where I think these markets can run higher for longer. So this is just a waiting game, guys. I think it's just making sure you're in solid coins that can actually run after the dust has settled and make new highs. And as of right now, I'm still holding my altcoins. I haven't sold anything. I'm simply going to sit tight and wait for the charts to reverse, and then we'll see where we're at. But that's pretty much it for now, guys. Not much else to be said. Waiting for a recovery, and we'll see where we're at for the month of October. So with that said, I'll see you guys on the next video.